Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the tech marketing and sales keys for achieving sales lift and driving option sell-through. Did you get all that? Does anybody know what that means? I think I'm supposed to know what that means. Wait. Okay. So we have a lovely group of presenters here. We have managed to put together, again, a rather extensive list of folks that are going to help us understand what all of this is and why all of it is important. You can see up there our purpose and our flow. I'm not going to read it to you because you all know how to read. So I'm going to allow you to read that while my esteemed panel introduces themselves. I'm going to start here to my right. If you would be so kind as to introduce yourself.
I will. Good afternoon. I'm Pete Beucke. I'm with Landsea Homes. I'm the Vice President of Innovation and Sustainability.
Welcome, welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Dave Bernadino. I'm the Chief Growth Officer at Ammunition. We're a full-service marketing firm that specializes in helping brands navigate this industry.
I'm Monica Wheaton. I'm the Vice President of Customer Success for ECI Software Solutions. We have basically 8 different types of management software that cover the industry to help builders and trades and suppliers be more profitable.
I'm Paul Cardis with On3. We're a construction training app for field workers in the construction industry.
I'm Will West. I'm the CEO of OliverIQ, and we have a software platform that allows you and your homeowners to use all the products they know and love and make them work together in the home.
The next thing up is a word from our sponsor. So I'm going to bring Dave up. Nope, sorry. Yes, not, see?
Derek.
Derek. I knew it was a D. I don't know the names of my own kids. Don't even ask. We're going to bring Derek up. Derek is going to actually introduce you to a rather new and exciting kind of product. This is something that most of you probably haven't seen before, so we're excited to have Derek up here from LumenCache. So Derek, take it away.
Thank you very much. By the way, it's really nice to see builders because this entire product is based on builders. I can't tell you how many times I went to a builder and I tried to introduce something and they're like, oh, I bet you hate all this smart home shit. And it's true, right? I mean, think about it. I mean, builders are conservative for a reason. There's business purposes for them to be conservative and careful with their choices on things. And imagine the thought when you say to them, yeah, I want you to wire up your home behind the walls with something different, not Romex anymore. That's a big ask. So let's start off a little bit about me. You've probably never heard of me, but Secretaries of Energy, both of them, got an air kiss there. This gentleman is Mr. McAllister. He's the, this is last week at the California Energy Commission. But the reality is, infrastructure is not sexy. And I hope that someday LumenCache is a familiar name with all of you, but I'm not. This isn't about what I'm doing. This is about this challenge. First thing, copper is at $9,000 a ton right now. So if any of you have been getting your quotes from your electricians and you're like, no, I asked for 1 home, not 2, this is the reason why, and it's going to get worse. When you look at the cross-section of copper, look at the size of a typical Romex wire versus a Cat5 wire. It's huge, right? That cross-section is all you actually need for LED lights. Most devices don't draw the amount of current that you have to wire for by code with AC. So why are we still doing it? Instead, you can wire up with something that's a better solution. We're not the first people doing this, right? Lots of people are trying to do DC in the world. But why isn't it 100% adoption, right? It's clearly a better solution. It uses less copper, it's safer, et cetera, et cetera. But the problem is that they all have different standards and different choices, and maybe you're going to get stuck with a certain number of fixtures, et cetera. So it's really not about having one solution, but the ability to adapt to any solution, and that's what LumenCache, that's what makes us unique. As far as wireless is concerned, wireless is great. I love wireless. I'm on a wireless mic. But the reality is, in a lot of circumstances, wireless is imperfect. And that's why builders don't like it usually, right? Because you need to get certificate of occupancy, you need to ensure that it's going to work to get that home sold and through certs. As far as connectivity standards, there's many of these things. I do support Matter. However, it's just kind of a continuing cycle of these technologies and attempts to integrate all these systems together. So how do we start solving all of this, right? Because really what's happens is builders you all are the gatekeepers for technology. Think about that, right? I mean, there's all kinds of amazing opportunities that we could do, but the builders are like, no, 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 cost, schedule. I got to get this home done. I'm going to turn it over, and then when we're all done, you homeowner can do whatever you want in the home afterwards, right? But that's restricting it. Thank you for the nods, by the way. I get that. That was getting a lot of nods. So builders have been stopping all of this because of the rapid obsolescence of these products. There was a beautiful lighting product that won last year's award here, right? They're gone. How many times has that happened to you, right? Over and over and over again. LumenCache has been around for 12 years already. We plan to be around much longer. So how do we get builders to adopt, instead of 5% adoption of smart home technology, how do we get them up to 95% adoption? We've got to be better. We've got to be better in every single category that you need. So what did I do? I asked you. I talked to builders. I didn't talk to the tech bros over in Silicon Valley. Instead, I said, what do you need as builders? You need things to be on schedule. You need to make sure that it's reliable, longevity. This price parity is a big deal too, obviously. No service contracts, right? Those are the kinds of things that you get from a dumb light switch. So let's do the same thing. So we made this proof of concept in 2012. There's over $2 million, almost $2 million of that product out there running in the world for 10 years. That's longer than most people even offer a warranty on it. And it's been done around the world. So project after project after project of the proof of concept. This was a Brookfield Properties, a bunch of apartment buildings and some wellness centers. Forest City originally put it in. When I talked to Brookfield after they took over the building, they said, Derek, we put so many new technologies in those first buildings. We've had nothing but problems. Except for LumenCache. It's like, it just runs. We had to change the batteries, that was it. So these systems have been used all over, even in things like bus stops, and this is probably my favorite picture. It was even featured in a BBC Click episode. And those lights that you see are being powered by LumenCache. They're amazed at how it worked. Why did I do all this? Because high elevation is difficult on electronics. And so we wanted to make sure that this product was going to last and last and last, so you don't have to worry about it. So here's what we're introducing. At the show, please come by to booth 211 and see this thing. This is the culmination of 12 years of field experience and a tremendous amount of factory experience so that we could get the price to a point where we could actually present it to production home builders as a preferred option. So it's the most open and compatible DC platform. It solves all the major challenges that you're going to face in the world. It solves all the different types of applications that you can put in. The switches can be sensors. So if you want to do CO2 sensing, you don't have to add an extra layer in to do that. All the different applications and, of course, the challenges that we solve. One of the biggest ones when we get to builders is speed. Here's an example. Hallway switches, right? Look at what you have to do in the AC world up on top versus our world. Just click, click. It's a completely toolless trim. Imagine how many times you've had a trades guy show up without tools. You're like, okay, still finish your job today, go home. 80 watts per port. That's actually more than enough. That's 8,000 lumens for a typical light these days. So plenty of light options. You've all seen these, right? I like this one because this is not a grid-tied solar. No complexity, no soft costs, all the challenges that you have to go through when you tie in solar to the grid. But that little panel can power all the lights, all the device charging, the ventilation fans, USB chargers. Really, what else do you need when you have a power outage, right? Because it's only going to last a couple of hours typically. So the panel, as you can see, it's got one DC charger you plug in. That means you save breakers. All of you are trying to use additional breaker space for all the electrification that's going on, right? All your lights, one breaker now. And if you have solar, don't even need the one breaker. So these little modules, that's the secret sauce of this product. They adapt to anything in the world, any new technology that comes across, and it's got a partner bus that allows devices to talk. It creates a VLAN, which means if you're a vendor and you want to get your devices connected, just plug them in, you get power, and they'll talk to each other. It's a very unique feature of this. And if you don't like Cat 5, we've got a poke-in version also. So essentially, we've really solved all those challenges. All the lights in the world, they're already compatible. You just don't buy the little AC/DC driver at the end. So all of these, this picture I love, by the way, because right now when you want to change the color temperature of lights, you got to go up in the ceiling, right? Ours, you just do it from the light switch. So all those nice benefits that Tim mentioned yesterday in the keynote, for example, already available in this product. Much faster to install, and I'm going to speed up for time if that's okay with you.
You're doing fine.
Great. So again, reliable operation. The key things that you all want as builders, super simple light switches. All of this stuff you can see again at booth 211. I'm sorry I did not bring the sensor there, but we have a great tagline, which is put a little active in your passive. So if you're building multifamily units, or as Lennar's Next Gen, for example, you can just separate the two units through software. So if you want to charge your mother-in-law for electricity, you can do that. Please don't blame me if you break up. But the big thing is, again, you can also get your ESG goals accomplished. This is a 60% savings in copper, right? And of course, the operational savings that can come from this also. As far as the brands are concerned, originally I was going to make Epic. And Epic is really meant for high-end homes, upscale homes, et cetera, commercial projects. But I was able to get the price down so that we can use Renetta. I mean, let's face it, when you're building a budget home, every little dollar counts. And so we can do a full package for the home at a very disruptive price. Talk to Stephen Crouch if you see him around, and we can show you about how the pricing works. But this system is also very interchangeable. So if your customers want to upgrade, they can do that. Renetta will be sold through some distribution too. So with an Epic system, custom installer does it, they put it in, but let's say you got to change a driver or a light bulb. You can actually put a Renetta driver in the Epic system and it'll work. So you can go down to Home Depot, pick up a driver, pop it in, don't have to call a technician for changing a light bulb. Again, an important feature in my opinion. So to sum it up, this is a smart platform that enables all of these new features that you've probably been begging for over the years and that you've probably been promised over the years too. And it's new. It shouldn't be scary because we've been doing it for so long. So thank you very much. Scan that to contact us. And thanks so much to the panel, because as I started out talking with today, I mentioned that selling technology to homeowners is not about the technology. It's about what can you do with this stuff. And the product, if you sell this into your customers, they get the benefits of the smart tech, but you get the benefits of saving money, faster projects, on time, et cetera. So it's really kind of a win-win-win. I don't know how many more wins we have, but there's a lot in there. Yeah. So thank you very much. I appreciate all you guys to this topic.
Thank you.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you very much. And thank you for sponsoring. Thank you for sponsoring our session. We very much appreciate you being here. So with that, I'm going to turn things over to Dave Bernadino. Dave's going to talk about some very interesting marketing concepts and some very interesting thoughts on how to grow business and what the customer relationship and the customer journey is with your products. So I'm going to hand the clicker over to Dave.
Great.
And you're off.
Great, appreciate it. And shout out again to the LumenCache team. Thanks again for your sponsorship of this. So again, Dave Bernadino, Chief Growth Officer at Ammunition. We're going to talk about a couple things here. Might be a little theoretical, but I think it's always good to start with the theory and with sort of foundations, which then allows us to pivot to the rest of the panelists, which is going to take this more into application. So let's start with first thing. At the end of the day, there are key moments of truth with any customer journey that you have to win, whether you're a builder, a supplier, a manufacturer, whatever business you're at. There are going to be critical moments of truth that your customer is going to have to face, and depending on what happens, you're either going to win that transaction or you're going to lose that transaction. And so we'll spend some time talking about this, but before we do, we want to go down to the foundation of what we need to have as it relates to marketing, which is a messaging platform. If you think about messaging platform, right, this is sort of the DNA that we all have as it relates to communicating what makes your community differentiated from something else, what makes LumenCache's products differentiated versus others, right? You have to figure out what that messaging platform is. So what constitutes it? There are two critical elements as you think about messaging platform. First is what we like to call the who. And really, it's a thorough understanding of your target audience. Sounds like, yeah, we don't know our target audience, but really it's about understanding what they're all about, how they're behaving, and how we can leverage those insights to drive the what, which is an articulation of your brand's unique value proposition. We'll talk about each over the next couple of minutes. So as we're thinking about the who, there are two critical elements really as far as defining the who. First piece is an audience persona. I'm sure you've done it for your respective businesses and brands, but really this is an articulation of your target audience that talks about demographics, attitudes, media habits, all that stuff, to understand who they are such you have a better sense of what they're all about. In isolation, that's good, but you need to put that in the context of what we like to call a behavior journey, which is the second half of the chart on the right there. And really here, if you think about marketing, our core task as marketers is changing behavior. Think about that. Your target audience is behaving in a certain way today. You want them to behave in a fundamentally different way tomorrow. Something's getting in the way. Whether it's an unmet need, a barrier to adoption, whatever it is. Got to figure that out. And the behavior journey, it's a one-pager. We use it in all of our assignments at the agency. Literally plots it on one sheet of paper. How are they thinking, feeling, and behaving vis-a-vis your brand, your category, your community, whatever you're trying to sell. On the other side is what you want them to think, feel, and behave tomorrow as a result of their interaction with your brand. And then plot out in the middle. What's getting in the way? Because if you're able to do that, you can start to frame out messaging platform, or what we like to call a single-minded proposition. Because ultimately, right, that proposition is what you're going to communicate to the marketplace to change that consumer's behavior. And very simply, right, a single-minded proposition is sort of a, because you get X, or because you deliver X, the consumer, the builder, the target audience gets Y. And that's supported by multiple reasons to believe. You might have heard it called like a brand equity statement, or a brand positioning statement. Again, these are critical marketing fundamentals that I strongly encourage you to think about and deploy across your organizations, because these are the nuts and bolts that you're going to be able to deploy across key moments of truth. Again, going back to the beginning of the talk, you have to win critical moments of truth to get your target audience from an initial point of awareness to the point where they're saying, you know what, I love your brand. I love this community. I want to recommend it to my friends. And so what are those key moments of truth? And this is a framework, I'm sure some of you have heard of this. This came out actually back in the mid-2000s at Procter & Gamble. I was at Procter & Gamble at the time. And literally it was a way of a call to action to say, hey, you know what? Focus your marketing initiatives on the things that matter. And it was all about critical moments of truth. First there were 2, but they've expanded to 4. 0 moment of truth, first, second, and third. Key critical thing is 100% of those folks that fail to deliver at each moment of truth loses the sale. It's simple math. If you don't get all the way to the goal line, you're not going to grow your business. So what are the moments of truth? Again, first we have the 0 moment of truth. This is about the beginning of the customer journey when they're beginning to consider your product, your category, your community, or whatever. So for example, I live in North Jersey. I'm thinking of moving maybe to South Jersey. If that particular town in South Jersey is not considered, you know what? You lose. You got to be in the consumer's frame of reference for you to even be considered for a particular purchase. So if you're not there, in Google search or Facebook or whatever it is, if you're not in the consumer's frame of reference, you lose. Starts there. But that's only the end of the beginning, because you win the first moment, 0 moment of truth, you get to the first moment of truth. And this is where the consumer is at the point of sale. And they get to choose whether or not they're going to pick your community or someone else's, or just walk away from the market altogether. Again, it's up to you as far as how you frame that customer experience, such that you're delighting them to the point where they say, you know what, I want to move in your community because you know what, it has the best amenities or best whatever. Whatever it is in the consumer's mindset as far as how they're deciding between your community versus others, that's your first moment of truth. The model home, the virtual design center, all those things factor in. But if you lose or make it difficult for them to say, hey, I want to sign that contract, you lose. But if you win the first moment of truth, get to the next one, second moment of truth. This is when the consumer interacts and experiences your brand. So probably during the move-in process in our industry, or right after they moved in, the first 90 days, the first 100 days. Is everything working? Are the fits and finishes right? Was the after-purchase conversations to their satisfaction? At the end of the day, this is about delight. Was the consumer delighted by their interaction with your brand after they've used it? Take a cup of coffee. You know, I'm a voracious coffee drinker. Dunkin' Donuts versus Starbucks. The taste of Dunkin' Donuts for some is great, others it's not. For the Dunkin' loyalists, they've won that second moment of truth because the taste of Dunkin' is fantastic. Same thing in your community. So the question is, have you delighted that consumer or that homeowner after they've purchased it to the point where you get to the third moment of truth? Has that experience with your home been so delightful that they're now going on to Facebook in their town website and saying, hey, I moved into this community, I think you should do so as well. Because if you've done that, you've garnered brand loyalty. And that's worth more than anything you can spend as far as marketing is concerned. Highest ROI, it is free, and it is authentic. But the critical thing is you have to win 0, first, second, and then the third moment of truth in order to achieve that. So how can you analyze each moment? Right? It's all about how do you figure this out. A couple things here. First moment of truth, again, is about impressions, likes, and things like that. You can read it on the screen. We can nerd out about this after the fact, all right? Happy to send you the charts afterwards if you want at your leisure. But there are different ways to analyze this. Your marketing teams, your marketing agencies can help you analyze each moment of truth. But at the end of the day, put numbers to each part of the customer journey. Because if you don't measure it, it doesn't get done. So the question is, how does this tie back to a messaging platform? Again, you have your typical customer journey. Awareness, consideration, conversion to trial, like your initial use, repeat and loyalty, right? Classic brand funnel metrics. Well, the moments of truth tie to each. 0 to initial point of awareness, consideration is the first moment of truth, conversion to trial, that first use is the second moment of truth, conversion to loyalty is the third moment of truth. You win all those 4 moments of truth, you're going to be growing your brand's leaps and bounds and actually connecting with your consumers in a way that no one else can connect. And with that, appreciate your time. If you want to connect, you can scan that to connect with me on LinkedIn. If you want copies of the charts, happy to send it over to you. Go back to you, Avi.
Wonderful. David, thank you so much. So Pete here is our builder representative. And so our builder representative is, as we've done in the other sessions, I usually give them the hard questions. So this is not a really hard question, but while I was listening to Dave's presentation, he talks all about these moments of customer touch point, all right? So you've got the initial marketing of location, location, location. We're all in real estate.
Sure.
That's pretty much table stakes, right? If you're gonna build your community at the bottom of a hill and everybody wants to live at the top of the hill, we're gonna move on from that one, right? But I think where we can tie in the concept of the moments of truth in technology is how does Landsea view the offerings of technology and the offerings of your options and standards as a definitive moment of truth? Is there a program or a process or a system that you can point to that says, hey, we're Landsea Homes. We include this, and the reason why we do is because we want to win that first moment of truth?
Yeah, it's a great question, and for me, it kind of relates back to every builder. Every builder they have to differentiate themselves, and so I think consistency is huge. The 4 moments of truth. You have to be consistent all the way through. For Landsea, we're talking about brand and whatnot. Our tagline is "Live in your element," and that element could be, a mid-rise building in New York City. It could be in a, home in an urban setting. But for each customer, they have a chance to live in their element. For us, technology really revolves around kind of our DNA. We have what we call our high-performance homes, and that's what we tout. That's really what our company was built on. And so there are 4 pillars, and those pillars really are energy savings, home automation, sustainability, and healthy home. And so with that, we provide technology in the home standard. And for us, we made a decision early on that we wanted to go partner with Apple. And so I believe we're one of the only builders right now that partner with Apple. And so our products really are HomeKit enabled products. We did that because number one, security. Number two, we wanted that consistency. We wanted those products all to relate to the home app. And so that was very important for us. So, we provide a myriad of products in our standard offering. It was funny yesterday, I heard about, oh yeah, garage door opener, 1972. But, I think it really comes down to, if you're only offering a front door lock and a smart thermostat, then, whip-you-do, But if you've got a myriad of products, smart switches, lighting, thermostat, garage door opener, front door lock, mesh Wi-Fi, that type of thing, then you've got something substantial, that people kind of, are attracted to. And that's really our, that's our focus.
So that's, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate you allowing me to put you on the spot each time here, so thank you for that as well.
Yep.
But Monica, as we move to your presentation, I know that you're going to be talking more about the marketing of these solutions and how it ties into what David talked about, sort of these moments of truth and these touch points. So why don't we hand the con over to you and let you tell us about sort of these marketing solutions and how these lift some of the opportunities, thank you, lift some of these opportunities within technology. So
sure.
Please.
Yeah, thank you. I'll go ahead and just get started. Monica Wheaton with ECI Software Solution. And so like I said, we do offer many different technologies. And so a lot of what we talk about is how can you leverage technology for your marketing and do so online with an online sales center, an online design center that's integrated with your operating system. But you can't just do things online. You also have to do it live and in person as well. And so the important thing is having that consistency between an online experience and a live experience. And so just kind of getting started and really speaking about the smart homes and marketing technology. I just like this statement here because marketing smart homes involves unique challenges due to the technical nature of the product. It's really hard to get the messaging really direct and focused so that the home buyer is understanding what they're buying or what really you're offering. And then you're also faced with the rapid and evolving enhancements that are available in the industry. And then the consumer's overall understanding of smart technology just in general is at various levels. And so you're looking at all of these, these three main challenges that can be kind of boiled down to these other things here. And so as we go through these, what I'm going to do after this is go through and give you some examples of what we see some of our builders who do sell smart homes and some technology in the homes, how they're marketing and how they're educating their buyers. So really, it can be, one of the challenges is it can be really complex and difficult to explain this technology in simple terms. Many consumers may not fully understand the benefit of installing the technology during the construction, and that's a challenge too, because I think consumers value smart homes and Wi-Fi and all of this technology, but they don't necessarily realize how much better it is to do it during construction versus coming back later and installing that later just to save some money for them as they're building their homes out. There's obviously very much a concern about their data privacy and security. Those are significant concerns to them. And it can be perceived as very expensive. And also one of the biggest challenges, I think, is that it's very confusing because you're dealing with integrating many different brands and making sure that you're covering certain specific parts of technology by incorporating these brands together. And that gets to be complex, not just for the home buyer to understand, but for the builder to be able to put the packages together that they can then sell to the home buyer. So I think that gets really confusing. And then ultimately, the builder just needs to find the right balance between the technical information that they're providing to the consumer and what those benefits are going to be in the long run. So just kind of going through some examples of what some builders do, and this is sort of a gradation of of, from very basic to a little bit more advanced. This is Madison Home Builders. And this is what on their website, what they're most concerned about is really educating the buyer of really what is a smart home. And so it goes on their website, it's this little blog that they've put out there, and it just talks about what is a smart home. And then if you go down in the blog, they've got the 20 smart home ideas, and they've broken it down into 5 different categories. Heating and cooling, kitchens, security and safety, floors and finishes, and lighting. So what they're doing is really trying to educate that buyer up front so that they can then, when the buyer comes in, talk about the different areas of technology and how they can support them through those different areas. Another example is Ryder Homes. And this is actually our online sales center that we offer that's integrated with the operating system. But they have this really great platform, and this can also be used in the sales center, where they can, buyers can come in here and click around and look at the different parts of the house and floor plans and things like that. But when you click on home features, you get this very nice graphic, which then cuts the home up into different parts and pieces, so you can actually see where the technology is being integrated into the home and what that technology is. And so I just highlighted a few things in there, and really when a buyer comes onto this site and clicks around, they click on each button and a little pop-up comes up with the information. But you'll see on this next slide, I just kind of put all of those little ones there so you can see what kind of variety of information that they had on the different parts of the home. So it really helps the buyer understand what's available and how it's going to be impacting their home during the sales process, so they know, so they can have those conversations. This next builder, Build Beasley Homes, this is their their website, and on their website they actually do have an online design center. And so once they've signed an agreement basically with the buyer, they give the buyer this design center for them to go into, and they can select what they want in their home. And this is a really cool way for them to do it, because the buyer can go home and they can select, their exterior, their interior, and all this stuff, and they can build a wish list and then go into the design center and then build the home. But what I really wanted to highlight on here was just these electrical options. So for their, smart home, they've created a whole category on electrical options, where you see everything else is sort of based on rooms or different parts of the house. This is just their electrical options. And they've broken that into 2 different categories too. So you can see their electrical and their low voltage and technology. And what I really like about this is it allows the buyer then to click on the low voltage and technology options, and then you'll see here they can select what they want in their home. They understand what's an upgrade. They can see how much it's going to add, how much cost it's going to add to their house. And those kinds of things. And so the buyer can really do this on their own time at their own house, and when they go into the design center, they can ask questions of the designers to really try to understand how this technology is impacting their home.
When you say electrical, it really doesn't speak to so much of the functionality. And then we have this legacy term, low voltage. Who wants low voltage? Think of it from a, hey, I want high voltage. So I know it's the trade term,
Correct.
But please, let's just purge. I'm sorry, I had to.
No, I appreciate that actually a lot. And that's a really good point, because these are labels that the builder created themselves for these different categories. And so that is definitely something that we can learn from David, and in the messaging that this builder can do on their website to be more effective, is to actually put the language into what the buyer is actually looking for. Because you're right, we understand low voltage, and a lot of times we builders speak to buyers, and buyers don't necessarily get it. And that was kind of the whole point of educating them with the blog to begin with. So thanks for pointing that out. I appreciate that for sure. All right, well, so in the next point was really just about, instead of piecemealing things, some of the builders out there, and I think some of you probably are doing this too, are packaging products together and branding it that way. So this GHO Homes has created GHO connectivity, and if you buy a GHO connectivity home, you're getting these 5 different products as part of that whole package, which I thought was really good. And then Abrazo Homes is very... Abrazo Homes is in the New Mexico market, and I really, they've been trying to get into smart home technology for quite some time, but they weren't sure exactly how to package it and how to work with the manufacturers and those kinds of things, and they really wanted to get the message across. And so actually what Abrazo Home did was they created not just packages, but they started a company called Riot, which is really to get into the future of smart home diagnostics, because this is definitely an area where buyers do not understand the different parts and pieces. And so this company basically packages all the different things that a buyer might need in order to be able to diagnose their home in different ways. And not only do they then install this package through their Riot company, but then they educate the buyer on how is that impacting current homes and how that could potentially impact their own homes as well. So it's been really innovative for them to do this, this company, and I think they're going to have a lot of really good impact in their market with that. And so those are the examples that I have.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Monica, thank you so much. Yeah. Once again, my local builder, I'm going to turn to Pete a little bit. Now that we know that low voltage is bad and high voltage is good, although Derek, I'm sure, is going to completely disagree with that. So let's have that conversation as we go on. But I know that Landsea has done this for quite a while. One of the things that I know that you pride yourselves on is your integration and the idea that when I move into a Landsea home, I gain some intelligence in that home. How do you go to market? Do you do it through a virtual walkthrough? Do you do it through packages? Is everything a standard? Help us understand a real world application of how technology is applied.
Okay, well, there are several touch points. The first is on the website. So if you go on LandseaHomes.com, right away you'll see high performance homes, HPH. And if you click on that, it'll walk through what HPH means and the products. That's one touch point. The other is in our models. So when we build a model, we want to have that interactive ability in that model. And so it's set up. Every home comes with a HomePod Mini, which is kind of our hub. Mm-hmm. And so we set scenes. So, in the sales office home, the salesperson will walk them through that. And then in the second home, they'll have QR codes and whatnot, and the buyer can actually experience the home themselves.
Interesting.
They can talk to Siri, and they've got some prompts. And the other thing is when we do a walkthrough in the field, our builders actually point out where that technology is going to go in the home. So that's another touch point. And then I would say the final touch point really is we've partnered with Best Buy, the Geek Squad. Mm-hmm. So they're doing what used to be called the white glove. That's probably a bad term now. Yeah. And so anyway, we've got an associate out here, Dave Felix, who set that program up. Dave, what do we call that now? Activation service. Oh yeah, that's much more sexy. But that's another touch point, and I think it's a great way to kind of put a bow around that package. Sure. Help them create scenes for themselves, personalize their technology, and then it also gives Best Buy a little opportunity, maybe to sell them a TV or something down the road. So
you're getting slightly ahead of us because we are going to talk about the after sale, after closing stuff. No. It's all very good information, but you've set us up wonderfully for Paul, who's now going to take us through what his buyer's journey is in sort of the technology and things. And so with that, Paul, if you would tell us about On3 and what you guys are doing and your approach to sort of this solution selling when it comes to technology upgrades and options.
Thanks, Avi. Yes, great to be here with everybody. So On3, we started this company 4 years ago to really solve a big problem, and that is documenting all the scopes of work that go on in construction, the detailed nuts and bolts of how we install, how products go in, how they work. All of that really was left up to a printed Word document, and there was no real good quality scopes of work. So we video enable all of the scopes of work, hundreds and thousands now of them, and that's what On3 does for builders today. But in terms of marketing, we've launched a new division, by the way, which is debuting here at this conference. So thank you, John and Avi, for having us here at the conference. So we launched Build Care, which is our consumer education wing or division of On3. So we're taking all these scopes of work and training around construction, and now we're creating consumer-friendly versions of these. And this is going to be very helpful for builders, because it seemed like 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4 builders we talked to, they kept saying, hey, can we use this stuff with our consumers? And the initial answer is no, not right yet, no, but we will. And then we're finally there now. So we are, and Beucke is out there. It's also a consumer survey product as well, which is going to be great as we're tying together surveys, excuse me, with the training. So let's talk about the buyer's journey, because really this is key, and and you've covered it really well with the moments of truth is huge. That has been, you know, the cornerstone of everything. But what I want to move down is product features and what's included, right? We've talked about, you know, sell, 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 and I get that, but we now need to win the first moment of truth, which is, hey, am I buying with you, or am I going to buy with the next guy? And rates are high, competition's getting fierce, and so that initial moment of truth is going to be about what we include in the home, right? What are these? I want you to find 5 differences in your home that's included that is your competitors don't, right? Because if you're not able to convey that in the first 60 seconds, you lose the sale. They're moving on. So think about that. And let's turn to one of the best, oh, sorry about that slide. We're going to let that one get out of there. I don't know why that's showing up. Let's move to the one of the best pitchmen in the universe, which is good old Elon, right? Here's a man who took on the auto industry, disrupted a $1 trillion industry, and nobody thought he could do it. Everybody was betting against him. But he's an amazing pitchman, right? What did he do? He built these cars that are included with features that just absolutely differentiated them from traditional cars, right? And we all look at it now in the rearview mirror and go, oh yeah, certainly great. But let's study what it is that he did, and can we learn from it? Because honestly, these plays are not happening in home building. You know, like for example, you know, he just created features, did not sell them as upgrades. These are included, right? He's got, for example, the air safety. Here we are talking about air quality. That car right now has a bigger air filter than most homes in the car, right? And he points that out, right? Here you see this video of him demonstrating how a car has actually a good enough filter to deal with a biohazard. Now, who drives around in your car thinking you're going to run into a nuclear biohazard or some kind of chemical biohazard? You're going to need this, but you have the bioweapon defense mode in your Tesla. You can kick on today. He's just a brilliant pitchman. Why did he do this? Because he's trying to articulate the difference, right? So he does this amazing. And of course, he built one of the most incredibly profitable and revenue-generating companies in history. And that's the experience he's creating with homeowners, right? Is that moment of wow. So think about your homes and how can we wow? How come a car can wow people and our homes can, right? We've got so many cool things going on right now, but we got to articulate that better to win this. So how does a builder do it, really? This is just one example, and granted, we are not at Elon's level yet. You'll need to hire David and his team and others around the table to help you get there. But we've taken some of our modules and we're now making them available for builders to share what's going on. And granted, it's not as sexy. So this is just one small example, and I wish I brought one for the home tech side. We're actually talking to LumenCache, so we're going to be creating a whole bunch of modules with your folks on this DC voltage. We're talking about QR code that could go inside the box for the builders and trades. But we could do the same thing with home automation and electronics for sure. So, you know, what's the point here? The point is that it is absolutely confusing to buy a home, right? And you have to create clarity. So I go back to that, pick your 5. Pick your 3 to 5 differentiation points that you think you could really separate yourself. Think of Elon Musk and what he did and find those differences, right? And get those differentiations going, right? And plan to be different, figure this all out. I can't read this because my eyes are going, so you're going to have to read it yourself because I can't remember what those bullet points are. Forgive me, my eyes and that light, I can't read it. So I fail on that one. But anyway, you get the point. Did they come through? They did.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they're
different.
Yep, plenty big for everybody.
These differences. Compare it to your top competition, right? Focus on the features and address the pain points, right? It's all about pain points. In this case, the shower was a big pain point, and they're solving it, right? And develop your messaging and working with construction experts to make it happen. Record yourself, practice, and deploy your product knowledge, because product knowledge is power, right? And we don't do a good job in this business making it happen. So anyway, we'll be on the floor here exhibiting. Come see us. We can talk about how we can organize your scopes of work like we're doing with most of the top 10 builders today on down to locally held builders. And once you document your scopes of work, this becomes very easy. Because it's one thing to make a marketing video, it's another thing to make sure it's tied to how you're actually going to deliver it. So if you don't have your training all figured out, you can't market this stuff, right? Because if you start showing stuff that doesn't match with what you're doing in the field, you're headed for disaster, because expectations will not be met and your buyers will be very upset. So this is why it has to start in the field first, so that when we show it to a customer and they walk in the house at pre-drywall, it looks right, looks the same. Thank you.
Thank you. So what you've seen so far, just if we can sort of keep everybody up to speed in what we've been talking about. And so we talked specifically about some moments of truth and some marketing, and then we went on to some of the ways that that marketing can be leveraged. And now we're talking about the customer journey in that marketing. And so now what Will is going to take us through is, this is, OliverIQ is a brand new company, and he's going to delve into a little bit about why it's a brand new company. But what he's also going to talk about is some of the services and things that really look towards the future of offering these services to homeowners. Up until now, it's really been all about the marketing of these solutions and having to figure out, obviously the way Landsea did, they took this sort of disparate, very broad base of solutions, and they went, you know what, we're gonna pick one of the top guys in the technology field, we're gonna pick Apple, we're gonna partner with them, because if it's good enough for Apple, it's good enough for us, and we are going to put you in that walled garden. The consumers have a lot of gratitude towards the idea of that walled garden, because they want it to be easy to use. However, as the buyers become more sophisticated, they want to take down the walls of that walled garden, and that's going to force folks like Landsea to look around and to find the next solutions that provide the walled garden type experience without the walls. And so Will's going to talk a little bit about what that means and how that works, and what OliverIQ is doing to sort of push the envelope towards the future in home control and in smart home and things like that. So Will, take it away.
Thanks. I've got the space, so I'm going to use it. I'm going to stand, if you don't mind. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about technology and how you make it work and what needs to happen. But I'm also going to tell you and agree with you on why you don't do it, right? Because holy cow, what a pain in the neck it can be. So at OliverIQ, we are founded by a group of people who is deep in this space. We took our last company public. And my partner and I just received a lifetime achievement in the industry. We've been doing this for decades. We understand how it works, and particularly it works primarily in the high end, right? Rich people have been doing automation, advanced automation, for a long time. It's just the broad middle market that can't afford it, and they can't afford it for a number of reasons that we're going to talk about. So there's opportunity spread throughout the home, right? There's motion sensors and door locks and doorbells and thermostats, and it's all through the home. And I'm just guessing that most of you have put your toe in the water with maybe a smart thermostat or a smart door lock, 2 or 3 things. But what you've wanted to avoid is the complexity that comes with automation when you start tying all these things together, because it does get hairy. It requires a massive amount of support. It's not just the number of devices, it's the fact that they all have to talk to each other if you're really going to do automation in a way that I'll say rich people have been enjoying now for a long time. It gets super complicated. Samsung doesn't wait for LG or Google or anybody else to do their software updates. They're just doing whatever they want whenever they want. And it all has to stay connected and working together. And that becomes a problem for the homeowner, and oh, by the way, therefore for you. And so, why on earth would you deal with this problem that we refer to as automation decay? It's beautiful the day it's installed, and it works fabulously. But the minute that truck drives down the street, it starts to happen, right? Stuff starts to go wrong, and you can't avoid it. The quality of the products made by, Crestron and Control4 and Savant, it's really good, actually. At Control4, a company we started, we had a lower failure rate than Apple products, right, on a per product basis. But when you put a lot of stuff in a home, automation decay happens. It's just a fact. Now, what you guys are used to is basically getting the entire budget, right? Whatever they have to spend, yeah, that's how much the house is going to cost, and probably a little more, right? Because you've got tile, and you've got carpet, and you've got windows, and you've got marble countertops that you can upgrade, and you can get the entire budget. So why add the complexity, right? There's actually not a lot of tech support required for that marble countertop, right? So just do that. The problem is, and this is the reason why you should do technology, is because the consumer is doing it. With or without you, this is where the market is going, and it's going across all segments, right? If you sell to men, or you sell to women, or you sell to young people or old people, it doesn't matter. Everybody is moving in this direction. There's something like 94 million smart speakers installed in the US. That's just the smart speaker, right? Not the Ring doorbell, not the Nest thermostat. That's just one. Consumers are going this direction. As we heard yesterday, 60-something% are expecting to go to a home that's got the advanced technology. But if you agree that, yeah, I've got to be going down this path, then what you've got to decide is, what are the differentiators I'm going to use, right? How am I going to distinguish myself? And it's really through the experiences, as we've heard already. How do I use that technology to make your life better? And by the way, for the consumer, that is going to change. I used to use my automation to put my kids to bed. I've got 6 kids. Putting them to bed at night was a non-trivial act, right? But I can tell you, automation makes a real difference. But whether it's security or safety or energy savings, I know that's a big part of what you guys do. Whatever the hop, they've got one, whatever it is, and that's what you need to be offering if you're going to kind of come into the future with the consumer. The trick is, how do I make this experience, the smart connected home, feel like the other experience, which is the no hassle marble countertop? That is really the secret. And the consumer is looking for not just the smart house, but what they need. And we can tell you, because we've been there, we've been doing real full automation at scale for a long time. They want one throat to choke. They want that IT department for the home that they can call on. And I think it's brilliant that you work with Best Buy, right? The consumer needs that kind of solution. They need somebody that they can call for not only the problems that are going to come up with what you guys are already going to be installing in the homes, but the things the consumer's going to bring in on top of that, right? They're going to buy stuff on Amazon, right? They're going to buy stuff at Home Depot. They're going to buy stuff and bring it into their home, and they're going to want it integrated and supported. They need an IT department, whether it's the Wi-Fi that's gone wrong, or honestly, it could be the blower on the air conditioning that has nothing at all to do with the automation, right? But I can tell you who gets the call first on that. It's the IT department for the home, right? That's what we call the primary service provider. And what we do at my company is we provide a platform that enables that primary service provider. You need to be able to provide product. Doesn't matter what product. It's just, whatever you want to sell the consumer, what the consumer's buying already at other popular locations. But you've got to be able to have in-home support. If it's a light switch or anything with wires, the consumer wants help with it. Actually, we could do. I won't take the time, but we could do a show of hands. How many people here have a Nest thermostat or a Ring doorbell? And it's going to be a lot of you, right? I can tell you that even though those are beautiful, easy to install products, most of them are professionally installed, right? And some of you are thinking, really? You gotta be kidding me. That is so easy to install. Consumers want help with this stuff. And then you put a lot of them in the home, they really, really want help with this stuff, right? Even the tech guys. We've done most of the, the sort of Bill Gates to Mark Zuckerberg to, I shouldn't be mentioning specific names, but we've done sort of who's who of technology, and they want help with this stuff because it's a hassle just to keep it all together. And so that's our job, is to provide the platforms for all of these kinds of service that happen after the fact. I'm going to kind of skip through a couple of things here that we can talk about your process and how you want to work things and whether or not you want to be part of a recurring revenue stream post-sale. But there are certain things that just have to happen when you're selling the connected home. There's revenue opportunity that's a part of that, but you have to have the platform that makes it work for the homeowner. With the home automation system, you've got to have service and support infrastructure so it can be handled online if that's possible, or a truck roll can happen efficiently if that's necessary. But at the end of the day, what we want is for the primary service provider, it might be your relationship with Best Buy, that might be the solution, and you and the other subcontractors to look like heroes in the minds of the consumer, so that at what's it called?
Third moment of truth.
The moment of truth. Numbers 3 and 4, they keep happening as a reality in the connected home. You've got to find a way to keep the customer perpetually happy in this constantly changing, upgrading, and service-oriented part of the home that you're selling them. I will just end with, Oliver Wendell Holmes said, "I wouldn't give one fig for the simplicity on this side of complexity, but I would give all that I possess for the simplicity on the other side of complexity." Complexity is coming at you, right? So it's not about forcing the consumer to just have a dumb light switch. Embrace the complexity, but at the end of the day, make it simple for them to use and to service. And that's what the consumer would pay for.
Wonderful. Will, thank you so much for that insight. So we've covered a lot of ground on this panel. We have a lot of different people up here, and these are your experts. So my question to the panel and to Ryan especially, to Pete especially, is how do we handle, and this is the situation that I hear time and time again from builders as to why they don't do what we have discussed today. The first concept, obviously, is you have to market to it. But let's say your market has been 1,000% successful, you've made money at it, you've done it, they've put it in their homes, and now what? So the best way to handle the service question, and I've seen many different answers, but I'm going to ask each of you the best way to handle the service question. So now we're post-close. Homeowners in the house, how are we doing this? How are we accomplishing this? So give us the builder perspective first.
Yeah, and for us now, really it's with Best Buy, in terms of who they call, if they have a problem.
So it's the partnership with the integrator.
Yes.
So not to use the brand name, but it's
Right.
your partnership with your integrator that provides your aftermarket service.
Correct.
Okay, so that's your one throat to choke, if you will.
Right.
So if I'm looking at this from a moment of truth perspective, the concern obviously is this post-close, I'm living in the house, it's the first 90 days. What's the best way to close the loop on the conversation between the homeowner and my service department?
Constant communication.
Constant communication.
Between, hey, how's it going? Are there things that you need from us to make sure your experience is enjoyable? Are there things that are going wrong? Constant communication with the consumer, because at the end of the day, right, there's a lot of change management that has to occur. Maybe they're into the smart home environment for the first time. You got to guide that consumer along such that at the end of the day, if there is a problem, that one throat to choke experience becomes seamless. But too many times you close the home, there's no communication, and the consumer's left to their own devices.
Well, because there's a fear. and this is the important part of this, is that the builder has to overcome the fear of asking the question, what can I do next?
Correct.
We deal with this in the security world as well. You'll go and install a security system, and the security dealer will come out, he'll hand you the codes and wish you a happy day and then walk out of your house. And they never call you back to say, how's everything going? Because what's the fear? Oh, well, you reminded me. This is leaking, or that's not right, or this is a problem, or that. And so then that brings me to Monica and to Paul, because you guys now have documented and marketed the system so you know what's in that house. So you're going to eliminate or attempt to eliminate some of that fear, right?
Well, absolutely, yeah. And then there's actually a newer product that is in the market now. It's called HomeKey, which is a really cool product where basically you can load all of the information for the home into this product, and then that stays with the home, which is great. And then you get all the documentation and all of that other stuff and who to call for services and that kind of thing. And so the more that builders can educate the buyers on what's in their home and then serve as that sort of a resource for them to get what they need, I think the better. So, yeah.
And with BuildCare, we're creating a real-time service. So they'll be able to, with a push of a button, engage a video conference call with the technician and be able to get real-time help right there through the app. And we're also talking to the HomeKey guys too, as well as embedding some of the other videos about how to do this and how this product works and how it was installed and all those things that are probably plaguing questions. But the biggie will be that real-time service. I don't think people want to wait any longer for someone to show up at the house. They want to be able to open their app, see, click, get an answer within 5 minutes.
So Will, obviously there's a lot of services that can be provided to a homeowner in the future after they've closed in their home. How does Oliver view the world when it comes to those services, even normal maintenance and things? The builders today don't really participate. Once you close in your home, they're pretty much done. But I know that Oliver has a little bit of a different thought when it comes to sort of these recurring services that happen in the home.
Yeah, well, I would say to the builder, embrace the suck. It is, you know, that service has to be there. It has to happen. So figure out how you're going to do it. Don't try and figure out, how can I not avoid this technology and install as little as possible? Because then you're going to be the builder from the dark ages. Embrace the fact that it is happening and consumers want it, but figure out how you're going to do it, i.e. with a Best Buy partner kind of a thing. We don't actually provide that service ourselves at OliverIQ. We provide the software platform. First of all, it's the home automation core. That whoever installed that, whoever sort of owns that on the installation side, that's who the consumer's gonna call for whatever the problem is, right? We provide that core software and the software that allows you to manage it remotely and efficiently, including the truck rolls, so the consumer and the installers can have a great experience together, right? That's what we do.
Wonderful. Well, with that, it is 1 o'clock straight up. I have reached the end of this session. I'd like to thank our panel once again. Thank you for all of your help and your insight and your expertise.